Welcome back. Well, children are used to being back at school. Those who matriculated last year are looking for players in higher education. Today is the International Day of Education. The theme this year is Learning for Lasting Peace. Christine Muhigana is the Unicef South Africa representative. Christine, good afternoon to you. What do you mean by learning for a lasting peace? Is this about using education to help people out of poverty and thus make society safer?
Absolutely. It's about having children grow up in a way that they are peaceful, they contribute to the productive health of their society, and it's about them not being, conflictual. It's about them at the very foundational period of their lives, learning how to become citizens, productive citizens, peaceful citizens.
We are, as you know, Christine, unfortunately a society with quite high levels of violence, and we see this all the time. We've seen some improvements in our education system, so we've had what's probably the highest matric pass rate ever. If we are able to get more children through a quality education system, coming out of school with a quality education, will that help us reduce our levels of violence?
Absolutely. I mean, violence is driven by poverty, it's driven by conflictual situation, it's driven by stress, it's sometimes also driven by, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding of, who the other is. So making sure that you build a society from, early childhood where children learn to read, basic literacy, basic numeracy, basic socio-emotional behavior and skills that will allow them to be employed, that will allow them to be serene, peaceful, actors in their family, in their communities, will definitely, we are very, adamant about this. It will impact on the violence we see in our society, whether here in South Africa or elsewhere.
What kind of, are there any changes or any suggestions that you have for our education system? Because, yes, it seems to be improving, but people are still quite concerned about it sometimes. And also, education takes a long time to change, as we know, and we would really like to try and reduce violence now, if we could.
Absolutely. The South African education system has actually improved over the last 20 years. It's just that it came from a low basis. So the efforts that are being made by the Department of Basic Education, and we support them, we champion a number of things that they have started, should allow us to gradually turn things around. There are proven interventions, and particularly public investments in teachers has proven to change the way children learn. It has changed, improved the impact of the amount of learning that takes place. You know that there was a lot of a setback with the COVID-19 pandemic, where children lost a lot of direct contact with learning, with teaching. So a number of interventions are being implemented by the Department of Basic Education. We support them. And one particular impactful intervention is called Early Grade Reading Program, which is based on something that was trialed by the government of South Africa, and which shows that, investing in teaching and making sure that you invest also where it's most needed, towards the most vulnerable and marginalized population, will take us a long way.
We have a huge dropout rate. 40% of learners, of children who start grade 1 don't get through to matric. And unfortunately, many of them, probably most of them, come from communities that are the poorest in the country as well, and may also suffer some of the higher rates of violence. We obviously need a big intervention there.
Absolutely, and the earlier you start, the better. When children have already dropped out or are engaged in gang violence and gang activities, it's too late. So what we're saying is invest early, in foundational learning, in basic numeracy, literacy, socio-emotional skills for children. So you don't get to the stage where children drop out and are violent, have ill behavior in their families and in their society. So public investments are key. Investing in teaching is key. And we happen to have also ongoing since the beginning of this week, a learning through play campaign, making sure that every opportunity that parents, caregivers, communities have to engage children in learning from the earliest age in a recreational and positive way will take us, a long way.
There's so many things that we also need to do around reading, and I would like to think that we can, fix that, and you've seen various surveys that show how big that problem is. I think one of the problems, frankly, is that the moment that children have access to a cell phone, they're going to look at that rather than read a book, and, I mean, who wouldn't? The page doesn't move. Are there things, other lessons we can learn from other countries to improve our literacy rates?
Yes, I mean, it's the basics, as I was saying. It's who the children engage with in terms of the learning, the acquiring of the reading skill. It's at home, as you said. They grab a tablet, they have a phone. Parents are the first teachers, actually, of children, and they should make sure that the time that's spent on any device is limited, and they should ingrain this, this yearning, this willingness, this capacity to see a book as something that's valuable and understand it. But to do that, of course, you need to make sure that through school, the teachers are capacitated to have impactful learning for reading happening in school. And that's why, again, invest in teachers, make sure that they are able to impair quality learning, reading to their children, so that they do that whether in school, at home with their parents or caregivers, or when they are outside of the immediate family or school. They have this reflex of I want to read a book because it's valuable and I will learn, and it will take me somewhere in life.
Christine Muhigana, thank you, the representative in South Africa of Unicef.